Welcome back to R4 Mississippi Thunder. Today, we're going to take a look at something I got in the mail. So stay tuned. Again, welcome back to all the previous viewers and subscribers, and if it's your first time here, welcome to you as well. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for notification of future content, and give us a thumbs up on the video. That's always appreciated. In today's video, if you caught my short that I put out a little earlier in the week, we're going to be talking about the FranklinArmory binary trigger system. This is the AR-S1, since it's being the straight trigger. Now, FranklinArmory sent this to me for review, so we're going to do them a good and honest review. If you're not familiar with the binary firing system from FranklinArmory, you have a position on your safety where you can put it where you have one action of pulling the trigger, makes a shot go down range, and a second action of releasing the trigger makes another round go down range. And also, if you're in the binary position and you pull the trigger and you have a shot and you don't want a second shot to go, you can keep holding the trigger and flip the safety back to safe or to semi, and it will not fire that second round. So it's very controllable. It looks I don't know, it looks a lot more controllable to me than some of these force reset triggers. All right, we're going to get this installed on the R4 Mississippi Thunder AR, and if you've been around the channel, you've seen a couple videos on it. And just to show people that don't know what I'm talking about, when you have it on these, you have a normal safety, you have a safe position and a fire position. Okay, and I'll show you what I'm getting at with that after we get this installed. So here is our FranklinArmory binary trigger system, and I'm going to try something a little different to get this installed. And let's see, I'm going to kind of just do this and see if we can get the parts to go in. Well, that looks like that shook the parts right into it for us. Well, there's a few extra parts left over. This is the slave pin. The IDS is pinned on the back side, and there's a spring. And luckily, they send two. Well, they send two of these little IDS springs. Can you see that? This one's kind of mangled up. And luckily they sent two, like I said, because the first one, that happened, and luckily I had a spare, because if you don't guide that slave pin with the trigger pin just correctly and make sure to catch that IDS spring and make sure it's pushed back when it goes through, that can cause a mess. All right, we have a mil-spec hammer spring because they recommend a lighter spring on the hammer unless you have trouble with like light strikes. So they have a blue spring in there that's the lighter spring. And also we have a red trigger spring here. Now this is a lighter spring. They recommend putting the mil-spec spring in that they send due to the fact that you'll have a better return. Now, if you want a lighter trigger pull, you can add this, but it won't have a stronger return for you. So that's the pieces we have left over. Also, we have a couple buffer springs in here. One of these is actually the stock spring that came out of here. They come with a medium and a heavy spring. And the medium spring is heavier than the stock spring that I had, so I took it out, added it, and also so that will give you where you won't have hammer follow. Getting to the safety. Now, they supply this sticker that you put on here, and I highly recommend you do that just so somebody unsuspecting doesn't not realize there's a binary function in here. But now you have a safe function, a semi-function, and then a binary function you could flip to. Just to show you what comes in the kit, there's two buffer tubes. buffer springs for fine tuning adjustment. Also, you have the trigger with its spring on it, and there's a second trigger spring there for adjustment. And also you have the hammer with its spring on it, and there's also a second hammer spring just for fine tuning the system to your specific needs and to make sure it works properly. So we'll show the gun is safe. No magazine, no ammo in it. Have it on the safe function. Functions like normal. Trigger will not pull. Flip it to the semi-function. You'll hear the hammer drop. Okay, and then we'll reset it. And you'll hear the reset. Okay, that's not a hammer drop. You switch it over to the binary function. Hammer drops. Reset. Release the trigger. And the hammer drops. So you get a round fired on the pull of the trigger and then on the release of the trigger. So each action of the trigger, pull, it fires, and then release, it fires. Again, the way it's designed, you pull the trigger. In safe mode, it will not fire. In semi, you pull the trigger, it fires. You release the trigger, it just resets. But in binary is the fun switch part of this. When you have it in binary, you pull the trigger and you fire around. And then when you release the trigger, a second action of releasing the trigger, you fire another round. Another way it's very controllable is if you have it in the binary function mode, you pull the trigger and you fire around. Well, if something happens and you don't want to fire that second round when you release your trigger, you just take and flip the safety back to either semi or safe, and you can release the trigger after you put it back to safe or semi, and that second round will not fire. Well, there's the install and a little explanation. I've never had a straight trigger on an AR platform. Never had a binary fire system on an AR platform. So they sent it to me for testing. We're going to take it out next video and do some testing. So, y'all stay tuned and come back to see us here on All 4 Mississippi Thunder. And God bless America.